Hey, it's Chuck Armstrong with Loudwire Nights, and this is Loudwire Nights on Demand. It's always a good time to get a hang with Tobias Forge of Ghost, especially when we're looking ahead to a new tour in 2026. This interview aired on Tuesday, October 14th. Let's go. Hanging with us tonight is the mastermind behind Ghost, one of the biggest bands in the world right now, no doubt. Tobias Forge, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
So right out of the gate, I just got to say, congrats on this year. I mean, when Ghost's latest album, Skeleton, came out, it became, I think, one of the best-selling rock albums in the last several years since AC/DC released Power Up back in 2020. And, you know, in today's industry, there's a whole lot of ways that you can track success and a whole lot of ways that I'm sure you don't even pay attention to because it's not why you do what you do. But when you heard about the success of Skeleton in that first week of its release, what ran through your head, man?
Well, how much records sales or record releases mean still something.
Yeah.
Still means something and still means a lot. And of course, obviously, to someone like myself, whom grew up in the age of huge record sales, of course, it was, you know, somewhere on some list of things to do and on a lovely day. You know, it would be fantastic to achieve, you know, the great number one spot, you know, years ago and when we started and when I started writing songs for this and when I was in death metal bands and all that. Of course, that was a very distant, sort of not really on my list, distant dream. But as we started achieving some success in America and over the years, the records have sort of, you know, went from appearing on the list to scratching on top 10. And then now I don't remember exactly where. Actually, honestly, I don't remember if we landed on number 3 last time or 2 now, just because it's been eclipsed by the number 1.
That's
right. But of course, as you start touching those, I think any actor, any director within any game where there is some prize, some sort of award that you can receive, I think it's sooner or later, if you are exposed to, you know, proximity, of course it will all of a sudden feel like a terribly nice thing to be given.
Yeah. I think you Impera peaked at number 2 on that top 200 chart, and
there
so
you go.
you were knocking on the door of it, man, and then answered with Skeleton. Well, that's cool because, you know, I'm sure sometimes, you know, there are stats or data points that exist that, you know, are cool and fun, but not necessarily like, ooh, that really gets me excited. But, you know, for a guy like you, just a fan of music and like your whole life, like, yeah, record sales, charts, that kind of thing, even though sometimes it might be a little insidery, that still sounds like it's still like a pretty cool thing, like as a fan to be able to achieve that.
Yes, for you know, behind the curtains in the industry, it means a lot. So, does the whole world stop and orgasm just because it happens? No. But it does mean a heightened attention or like a slightly enlarged. You think what I'm going to say now is something physical, but
right, yeah.
What I'm going to say, yeah, no, what I'm going to say, it's likely, you know, your name is a little bit more seriously taken within the industry, for whatever you need that respect. But you know, it comes in handy at certain points. So, no, I'm raving, dancing all around the fire here.
I love it, man. Well, yeah, and you followed the album with the Skeleton tour, which has now been extended into 2026, which is amazing. And, you know, among other things, you know, one of the things that everyone loves talking about, and it remains true for these new dates, is that no cell phones are allowed. Are you getting tired of talking about this yet?
No. I mean, I think that there's not a whole lot of people have understood what the meaning is. and how it makes them feel, and how well, yeah, it makes us all feel
Yeah.
better. And with a few exceptions here and there, people who just somehow has a problem with it. But overall, I think that I think that the show is great, but I think that the show is definitely enhanced by this fact, because people see a show for the first time in 10 years, whereas they've sort of not for the
Right. Yeah.
last 5, 10 years. So it's
Yeah.
like, so it's a little bit of trick. It's a little, but no, I mean, I can talk myself slack-jawed about the why I think this is a great thing. I believe that more bands will start doing this, and I think that just right now it's just an economic disincentive, if that makes sense. I don't even know if that is a word, but the negative here when bands contemplate using this is just the cost,
Sure.
because it's a cost, and there's a as of right now, it's an infrastructure that you have to carry as an artist. And I think that hopefully more artists will start using this. So there will be this incentive for local halls, promoters, all these buildings. Obviously, that they have obviously 500,000 chairs that they can put out on the rink ice,
Yeah.
and they have a little stage if a band comes, and they should have this function.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure if that was something that you can just like fill in cross a box in order to get locally, a whole lot more artists would do it.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think, yeah. I mean, as I've experienced it, from a fan's perspective, it's always, usually it's been a pretty smooth process and very simple. And so, yeah, I would have to imagine, like, as it makes sense for the venue to do it, then all of a sudden this isn't so much a talking point anymore. It's just part of that process, part of that experience.
Yes, I mean locally there has been you know a, a pair, 2, 3 nights over the course of the tour that there's been a little bit of a shit show with the inns.
Yeah.
But that is simply due to the fact that it's an imported, the dreaded word. It's imported. I don't want to say technology. That sounds funny, but it's it's an assets that are brought into a building,
Yeah.
and therefore local talent might play part to that. So whenever there's been a snafu where it's been delayed a little, we're talking about like maybe half an hour. So it's not like an old fashioned GNR 1991 sort of like, yeah, we start
Right.
three
Yeah.
hours later maybe.
Yeah.
It's more like a slight little hiccup, which in the context of how we are running things, where everything's super punctual, it becomes like an error. But it's baby diseases. It's really just a local
Yeah.
mistake.
Well, and
So
it's it's cool too, so yeah, I as a fan, I don't get to snap any pictures or take any videos. All right, whatever. I'm in it. I get to experience a show like you said, like that I haven't really for 5 or 10 years. But it's also cool these last two shows of the Skeletor in Mexico City, you guys filmed it. And so yes, now all of a sudden, instead of the grainy, crappy video that I would have gotten on my phone anyway, I'm going to get a relive it or experience it for the first time, from that vantage point. Do you have a hope for getting this edited and out to the world, to fans?
of course, yes. Why why else would we film it?
Well, no,
Of
I'm
course we
sorry. I'm
want
sorry.
to.
Is there a hopeful timeline that is
uh
shareable at this moment?
No, I mean we just. I mean, we did film it with like old fashioned real film roll,
Yeah.
which in turn, obviously, they you have to process them, and you have to put together an edit, which is time consuming, and we're gonna right now we're currently in a sort of a little break. Um, and even though I'm doing other things as well, we're gonna start looking at the edit. But once you start to piece together the actual order of clips, basically, there's this whole slew of production that needs to be done in order for it just to look normal.
Yeah.
So what I learned with the process of making Right Here, Right Now was that it takes a lot longer than you think. And then we have another um, thing in front of us, and that is once we're done with the edit, we obviously there we ended up fluffing the filming slightly because originally we had 3 nights in Mexico and one fell through, which essentially meant that we lost 33% of the material that we hoped to get.
Yeah.
Which was, obviously it was a great shame that the show didn't happen, but for us, the film project, it was very, very annoying that we lost a third of the shoot. So once we put together an edit, towards the end of the year, something like that, we're gonna, try to watch the whole thing as objectively as we can,
Yeah.
and then try to figure out, like, do we need something else in it? Is it, because to me it's very important that we don't end up making Right Here, Right Now too. It's
Sure.
another film, and it's not the same thing. It's not an extension of that. It's a different thing. So I need to be wary of how do we make this feel different, like yet capturing obviously the show and the tour, and what people saw or didn't see.
Yeah.
But anyway, after we're gonna tour throughout. We're doing stuff in 2026 as well. So I'm assuming, and I'm gonna be realistic, saying that probably 27.
All right, man. Well, can't wait to see it, regardless. And it just gives too, obviously anybody who's going to catch these shows in 2026, just, still kind of keeps that feeling alive of, not quite knowing what you're walking into. Not, you haven't seen much online or anything like that. So, I think that makes a ton of sense. Well, listen, I got to ask, and you've talked about this, a little bit over the last few months, but I had the chance to be in Birmingham on July 5th for Back to the Beginning, and it's just absolutely incredible. Kind of a surreal day as we all paid tribute to Ozzy and Sabbath. And I got to say, man, I was really impressed with you taking on Bark at the Moon. I thought your vocals fit that so well. It was so cool to see you with Vernon Reid and Nuno, with Rudy and Adam, and I think Travis Barker was drumming on that one too. Were you happy with it, man? Like as you walked off the stage, I know that wasn't necessarily the first song that you had sort of, picked or wanted to do, but as you walked off the stage, how were you feeling, man?
Like I did my tribute. Like I felt, if I want to be like, for super transparency, I wish that I had stood my ground and said that we were gonna detune one whole step. On the day before, we went into rehearsals, and I said that, I can nail it, I think, in original key, but if we go down like one step to D, that is my whole my vocal cords are basically tuned in D. It's going to sound better, or I'm going to be able to nail everything more comfortably. And one person in the band, everybody was super great. Everybody friends, everybody's great. But one had a problem with that simply because that person only had one instrument brought with him. And he said, "Oh man, can we not do that? Because I'm going to play this other song with this other okay, it. Like, let's go. Let's just do
Yeah.
this. It's fine." And so it was a little high for me, but I felt like this show is not about me. This
Yeah.
show is only about Black Sabbath and about Ozzy, and we're all here to pay tribute and just share, bow our heads to them. And so that's what we did, and that's what I felt afterwards. Like, this is not as good. This is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Great. I'm so happy to be asked to be here. What an insane thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, and like, and I've said this a lot since then, but from the fans' perspective and the stories I've heard and the conversations I've had with artists who were there, it really does sound like, at least on the day of, on the stage, from what I witnessed, like everybody was dialed into exactly what you just said. Like, this isn't about any one of these bands. This is about Sabbath. It's about Ozzy. The ego was left. Nobody was trying to one up someone else or prove that they were the biggest Ozzy fan or the biggest Sabbath fan or anything like that. And it just came together to be a really, really cool day.
Truly, I must say that on over the course of a summer or two, if you're doing festivals, especially like a few years ago when even Sabbath and Ozzy was around, on a good day on a festival, you might bump into half of these people. But obviously never Guns N' Roses and Metallica on the same night, and never on the same night as Black Sabbath. So it'd always be, you go to one festival and Black Sabbath is there, or you go on other festival and Guns is there. Very, very rarely would you meet everyone at the same time. And of course, a huge difference, even though everybody's usually super friendly anyways, when everybody's there to do their whole thing and they're the mainland, the main act, or everybody's there to work. So there's this slight little difference that you could definitely pick up in Birmingham,
Yeah.
where people weren't there to work. We were all there for something else, for passion, for in honor, and it does make a difference. It does make a difference, and those moments are, luckily, in the context of why we were there, and especially in the aftermath. Obviously, they're very rare. But once it happens, it's you could. I think everybody felt that. Wow, this is rare. This
Yeah.
is really, something beautiful to partake in.
Yeah. Amen, man. Well, I love hearing that. And yeah, it was still something that I think about every single day, and just such a cool thing that, I think will stand the test of time as far as history goes in the world of music, and certainly in the world of rock and roll. Listen, last question. And, you've talked to us on this show before, and you've said it elsewhere, you're always a few steps ahead as far as wherever you're at in the moment with Ghost. You're always thinking, well ahead. And clearly, we're talking about a concert film, but you've also got tour dates that were just announced for 2026. I want to know, you've talked about wanting to do a full album of covers, and you're tossing around like Motorhead and Misfits, Rush, and that sort of evolved into the Phantomime EP. Is there plans, hopes for some of those covers of bands like Rush, Misfits, Motorhead, that are on your radar as you look ahead a few steps from where you're at right now?
Not as of right now. We, a few years ago, before Phantom turned into an EP, obviously there were a few rejected songs in there that I still feel, listening back to them at points, I'm like, oh, this is good, but it doesn't, it needs a context as well. And I've deliberately broken the the tradition of having like an EP with covers coming out.
Yeah.
So that is not going to happen right now. Yeah.
All right.
It was a little bit too predictable after a while. So I'm simply not doing that. I'm just looking ahead right now. It's the American tour, or the American leg. And then we have a few other things happening next year. And then I don't know actually what's going to happen. I'm very busy doing other things as well. So it's as of right now, it's pretty unclear, honestly. And it's a good feeling.
I was going to say, is that kind of a different type of feeling than you're used to too?
Absolutely. For 15 years, I've been, for actually 15. I started writing songs for Ghost in 2006 and really started picking up pace on it in 2008 when I started writing sort of like only songs for Ghost and like just sort of investing all my free time to do that. So, at least professionally for 15 years, I've been doing this nonstop without really breaking. I timed COVID, so not deliberately, but it ended up being, last show we did was March something, like first, second,
Yeah.
third, maybe. And then COVID happened. So I had already planned to go into the studio after that. Which, lucky me, but
Right.
which
Yeah.
means that I never lost lost is a wrong word here, but I was never thrown out of orbit um, despite COVID happening, because that was part of my plan to be dormant from not on stage but making a record. Yeah, I got a little bit more. I got a little extra time to making Para, but I definitely now I'm feeling like I am simply not going to go into the studio when I'm done with this tour. So I don't know when I'm going to be in the studio next time. And that's a good feeling because I've been doing this nonstop now. So
right on. Well, I love
that's a
hearing that,
great
man.
feeling.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tobias Forge, thank you for
Yes.
joining us, man. It's always great to get to spend some time with you and catch up on everything happening in your world. Listeners, get everything you need on Skeletor, the Skeletor, everything at ghost-official.com. We'll always keep you posted on Loudwire too. But Tobias, man, hopefully we can do this again soon. I mean, sounds like there's we'll have plenty to keep talking about coming up. So hopefully I'll see you on the Skeletor next year. And it's an open door here on the show for you, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care of yourself.